Hi Mary, how are you? How are you getting on?
Fine, Janet.
Good.
Fine.
We're going to do your middle
Just
interview
a bit
now.
nervous now about the interview.
Oh, okay, there's no need to be nervous about the interview now at all. But we're just going to go through it. I'm going to do your middle interview with you today as pre-arranged. So generally speaking on the ward, how do you feel you're getting on overall?
Well, I think I've been getting on well with the staff. I think I've settled in well, work well with the staff.
Yeah,
And
good.
with everybody else, the multidisciplinary team.
Yeah, and you're enjoying your stay here, are you?
Enjoying it well.
Good. Great. And you have all your documentation
I do,
here
I brought it
with
with
you.
me now, yeah.
So on your learning plan from the first interview, what have you got on that?
Well, I wanted to achieve the urinary catheterisation of a female patient. I didn't achieve that before.
Okay.
I wanted to look after patients with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, pneumonia, chest infections, and hopefully cystic fibrosis.
Right. Okay.
Linking theory to practice and relating medications to each of the conditions.
We were looking after, if you remember, Mrs. White,
That's right.
who had
this morning.
COPD
Yes,
this morning,
yes,
isn't that right?
That's right.
And I know I was questioning you about COPD, and you had fairly good knowledge, I must say, on the condition. You need to keep working on that and maybe look more at the theory of that as well. The nebulizers as well, you were going to look at some of the medications, isn't that
That's
right?
right, I did. And
Did you get a chance to look up some
I did. What I used to do is I used to take the drug cardiacs out, and then I used to look them up with the BNF when I was going around with the staff nurse and the drug rounds. But also I had a chat with the pharmacist. So
Great.
the pharmacist was great knowledge.
Yeah. And in fairness, from me questioning and answering you this morning particularly, I felt you had a reasonable grasp on COPD for your level. So what else, where else are we here? What else have you got? Have you managed to look up or?
Well, unfortunately we don't have anybody with cystic fibrosis on the ward. So pneumonia I'm starting to look at because I know we had a patient who came in from the emergency department admitted with pneumonia. Yeah. So I actually went to the library and I found an article that I just haven't got time to read yet.
Oh, very good. What one is that? That's the classifications. That's actually a very good article. Yeah. So make sure you read that. It is actually quite a good article.
Yeah. So I just made my way there yesterday.
Yeah.
And the other thing I did, I remember I had to do the case study.
That's right.
Yeah, so I have the case study, so you might have a look at it for me if you wouldn't mind, just to make sure that it's well laid out and, you know, it's
and what's the case study on?
I based it on one of our patients.
With COPD, is that right?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's no problem. I'll have a look at that later for you. Yeah, no problem. So that's good. So what about your PAR then? Isn't that right? Have you got your PAR there with you? You have. Lovely. So you might just go through this. Have you managed to get some of it signed off?
Some of it signed off, not. I haven't a lot filled in really. I've been working on the others, but I'll get through it.
You don't have a lot filled in on this, really.
Not really.
No. Yeah. You need to really start filling these in, Mary, and getting these signed.
So I'm a bit slow with.
Because you can't really leave them. Till the last minute either. And I can certainly sign some here with you because we would have discussed certain things here, like some of the policies and procedures.
We actually did aseptic technique this morning.
That's correct. You know, so we can sign that off, and you can. So that domain is fine. So what's domain 2 here now?
Assessing, planning, implementing, and evaluating care.
Okay. And how do you think you're doing with that?
I think today I got more of a grasp because of looking after the same patient right through, but admitting a patient would be the key to actually.
It is exactly because it is assess, plan, implement.
But we did do the care plan together today, so again that you can write that up for me.
Exactly, and I can sign some of these off. Now, where are we? This is domain 3 here, and interpersonal relationships. How do you feel you're getting on?
I remember I gave a report on the 2 patients. Didn't do very well. I don't think myself. I don't think I gave a very good report.
Okay, and what do you think was wrong with it?
I felt I was long-winded, give the history that the patient was in for a couple of weeks, and the staff knew the patient. And the thing about giving the CT result, they all knew the CT result. So I think I didn't do very well. I wasn't comprehensive.
Yeah. I think that's a good summary of what you were doing, really. For somebody that doesn't know patients, they will need a more thorough report. But this patient has been with us for, I think it was 52 days
That's
so
right.
far, isn't that right?
That's right.
So we knew this patient relatively well. And in that case, really what we need to do is give an update. Make sure, obviously, the staff that are there know the patient, first of all, that you don't have to go right back to the beginning. And then to give an update on what has gone on for your shift, for your 12-hour shift with that patient, or if there's anything relevant. Particularly for staff who haven't been in for a day or two, you know. But particularly the CT report, that was
I
actually
think they're all looking
quite
at
old.
it.
Yeah. But you know what you've done wrong, and you know you can improve on that.
Yeah.
Okay, and between the two of us, we can go through your patients again and to see, because I want you to give reports to me in the evening time, okay, on the patients you've been looking after, because you've been taking 2 patients, isn't that right?
That's right.
And in fairness, your reports to me, when we do the report, the midday report, they haven't been bad, you know, and I've given you feedback on them. They haven't been bad, because it is, as we say, just an update on what we've done for the morning. So perhaps we can go on to taking 3 patients. What do you think?
Okay.
And see how that goes.
Yeah.
You know, we can discuss that. That's grand. So that's domain 3. So you know, we have to work on that. So
This is organisation and management of care.
domain 4. And how do you think you're getting on there?
Time management mightn't be my strongest.
And how? Can you give me an example there?
Remember we were working the other day,
Yes.
and I just felt when we came out of report, the bells were ringing and I had to bring a patient to the bathroom, and then somebody came up, a porter came up to take a patient for bronchoscopy, so I got very behind.
Yes, yeah, you did. Now we can work on this. Your time management wasn't good that day, I must say. But having said that, I suppose what we need to do is make a plan of action, if you like. So really in the morning, after you get a report, you must prioritise the care for your patients, okay? And we have been doing that. And I know for the last 2 mornings I've let you off to try and do that for yourself, to do that on your own.
I noticed that.
And you weren't really getting it, were you? So what we really need to do after we get a report is to prioritise our patients, basically, to see who's the most seriously ill patient on the ward.
Okay.
We have to work out a plan, say for example, of what we need to do up to, say, break time, up to breakfast time.
Okay.
You know, so say for the first hour and a half, that perhaps we have some dependent patients, perhaps we can get at least 1 maybe bed bath done or 2 done before breakfast, and then after that to prioritise what needs to be done then. Obviously their observations need to be done, medications have to be given out. Do you know what I mean? There's an awful lot to get through. So from your time management point of view, basically, it is the idea, I suppose, in any ward that you're working on is to see what has to be done for the day. For example, your patient going off for a bronchoscopy, isn't that right? To get that patient ready first thing, because they could be up. The porter could be up at any moment to take that patient down. And in actual fact, that is what happened, because that patient was first on the list, if you remember. So
would
the
it help
porter
if
was
I
up early.
could ring to see when the patients?
You could, sometimes it can. Sometimes they will have the list done out. Now sometimes we don't get it, which is unfortunate, you know. And sometimes it changes, because if there's emergencies coming through A&E, for example, they will take priority over patients, you know. So sometimes the list can be helpful, but it may not always be entirely accurate, you know. But from your point of view, or from our point of view in the ward here, if we have the patients ready to go, then you're on top of your work then, you know. So that's an area that you need to improve on, really. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, you're happy enough with
I'm
that?
happy enough with that, and I think now you give me some.
Is that fair enough?
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
And the last one then is personal and professional practice.
Yes.
And I think I've achieved, well, I'm achieving that one, because I've been to the library, I've found resources, I've been asking questions,
Yes.
and I've done my case plan.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
I'm working on that,
yes.
that domain.
I think you are as well, to be honest with you. You know, as you say, you've shown initiative there,
Mm.
you've gotten some articles on that, and you do have to read them
Of course.
as well. You do know that, good. So I think overall you are doing quite well. There's one or two areas that we've pointed out that you need to improve
Mm.
on, and I don't see any reason why you can't improve on those areas. I suppose the other thing to say to you, just because this interview is going well and you know you're getting a lot of praise in one way, because you are doing very, very well for a third year student, I think, doesn't mean that you can slacken off.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
You do have to continue to work on your learning objectives and your outcomes, okay? So for the final interview then, here there's your intermediate. So what objectives and outcomes have been achieved?
Well, I've achieved chronic obstructive pulmonary disease
Yes.
through questioning and answering, looking after the patient,
Yes.
and also I've done my case
Yes.
study.
Yes.
So that's the achievement.
Yeah.
What outcomes haven't been achieved?
Yeah.
Pneumonia, chest
Yeah.
infection, cystic fibrosis, and I'm going
Yes.
to work on pneumonia
For that.
for
yes.
that, and
Yeah.
a patient has arrived on the ward, so hopefully I get to look after the patient.
Yes.
And again, you've given me a structure.
Yes, I think you need to maybe put this in a revised plan for achieving existing or new objectives.
So
Certainly work on them, but
And the two patients, work on my
Exactly.
giving report.
yes, from your time management
And-
point of view and from your report, your communication.
And you've given me now a plan
Point of
and
view.
structure to work towards.
Have you anything else now? Anything else you want to ask
No,
me or?
I think I did okay. Feel
Yeah.
happy.
Good, yeah. And we need to maybe fix a date then for
Oh,
your
yes.
final interview. I just need to look up, when are we on now? Next week? Or you've another 2 weeks,
Another
isn't that
2
right?
weeks.
You have another 2 weeks, great. And what days are you working that week?
I think I'm working
Where are we,
Tuesday,
Tom?
Thursday, Friday.
Tuesday, Thursday, and I'm actually on Monday, Thursday, Friday. So between the Thursday and Friday,
Great. So
basically
will I
we'll
put
do
the date
that.
down?
We put it down for the Thursday, but that's Thursday what date are we there? That is Thursday,
The end.
the 23rd.
That's great.
Actually.
I'll put it in here.
Thursday the 23rd, and we can certainly do that. Is that all right?
That's fine. And will you
Grand.
just sign?
And I'll sign there for you. Lovely.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you, Janet.
Not at all. Thank you, Mary.